I'm going to capture this fellow talking about tritium, and I'm going to make some commentary before, maybe after I'll pause. And I just want to say that from the position that I take in terms of this fight that we have on our hands to get rid of this nuclear, this syndicate, this criminal syndicate who has polluted, is polluting epically the environment. There are two kinds of people. There are people that are complicit with this syndicate, and there is the other type of person that I consider myself as a kind of conformist ignorance. The ignorance of my conformity has contributed to the situation that we're in. And then I suppose there's the third person type of person, like the Rachel Carson type of person who has been active, aggressively trying to help humanity and all of life on this planet. When they understood this, I came to this quite late with the explosion at Fukushima and the 3 full core meltdowns. But I'm going to capture a little bit of this. And this is guys talking about tritium. Now you can see he's an older fellow. He's been sucking off the trough for 30 or 40 years. He's grown a conscience, and he's talking about this. He's one of the complicit people. Now, whatever it takes, you know, he's kind of coming around after he's taken his paycheck and he's got his cottages, and his grandchildren have cottages, or children have cottages and cars and whatever. He was on the payroll, but he's coming out. So I give him credit. He's coming out. And a wonderful person by the name of Angela Bishop. You see this here. She's part of the Clean Air Alliance in Toronto. I've met her. She's a magnificent activist person involved in exposing the tragedy. And this guy's going to talk about tritium. And here's the fact sheet. I'm just going to pull this up here. The fact sheet on tritium. I'm going to, you can read this yourself. And it explains the nature of tritium, which is an insidious isotope, because it actually is water as far as we're concerned, and it's released as what appears to be steam coming off these CANDU reactors, which are heavy water reactors that turn water into tritium, which is literally the water itself becomes the isotope, which is insidious, and it's very, very dangerous. And I'm just going to scroll down. You can read up on this yourself. What is involved here. I'm not going to bother reading this because I want you to see his, you can stop the video and just read this, what is being talked about here. So what I would like to do is just play this, this video here. Let's see what happens. So this is a nuclear station near Toronto, Ontario, where there are 6 million people within 15 miles, 20 miles of this nuclear plant, which is emitting tritium every day, like all or many of the other nuclear plants. And here's what he has to say.
I'm Dr. Ian Fairley, and I have a doctorate in radioactive waste management at Imperial College in London.
Now, this obviously didn't happen yesterday. It happened 30, 40 years ago. He's an older fellow in his late 60s, early 70s, maybe. I don't know. So this doesn't happen just now. But anyway, he's coming out. He's going to tell us what.
For the past 10 years, I worked for the British government in radioactive waste management. I'm here today to try and give you an idea of the tritium discharges from the nuclear power stations near Toronto. That's both Pickering and Darlington. And also what the health effects are from these very large discharges. The reason that I'm concerned about the discharges at both Pickering and Darlington is that the tritium discharges are the highest in the world from any nuclear facility. And this is really serious because there's very large populations near both of the power stations. Altogether, about 6 million people live within 50 kilometers of the 2 power stations. Now, these discharges are the highest in the world. and the highest from any nuclear facility. And the result of this is that we see higher levels of health effects in the people who live nearby. Um, Perhaps I should explain to you what tritium is. Tritium is the radioactive isotope of hydrogen. It has a half-life of 12.3 years, which means that it hangs about in the environment for a long period of time. When it gets inside your body, it sticks to your fats, to your proteins, to your carbohydrates for years, and it gives you high doses of radiation. Unfortunately, these doses aren't really taken into account by the authorities here in Canada, but they result in high levels of leukemias and birth defects in people who live nearby, both Pickering and Darlington. This is in radioactive water. In other words, most people think that the tritium is inside the water. No, it actually is the water itself which is radioactive.
Do you see how insidious this is as part of this process, the nuclear fission process, how insidious that the water, something that appears to be perfectly clear, beautiful, natural, is in fact the most dangerous, lethal thing for a human or any life form on this planet. Amazing.
For example, if I have a cup of water here and I put some salt in it, you say the salt is in the water or sugar is in the water. But no, it's not that. It's what it is the water molecules themselves are radioactive. We all know that water is H2O. Well, so that's two hydrogens attached to an oxygen. One of those hydrogens is radioactive. About 10 years ago, I wrote a report for Greenpeace Canada, which on tritium and the discharges nearby, which recommended that pregnant women and children shouldn't live within 10 kilometers of the plants at Pickering and Darlington. And also that people who live within 5 kilometers of Pickering and Darlington shouldn't eat their own garden produce. This was on the front page of the Globe and Mail in June 2007. My recommendations haven't changed.
So anyway, I think this is obviously extremely important for the people living within the vicinity in Toronto around this nuclear station, both of them Pickering and Darlington. And Angela Bishop is a fabulous activist. She's putting up a lot of, making a great effort to alert people to the fact that Pickering is now OPG, the people that want to bury nuclear waste under Lake Huron. She's an activist who has a long history of what I call conscience in this, way before me. These are the extraordinary people that live among us that are not complicit or conformist, this sort of ignorance as conformity as part of the ignorance in the general population that needs to be remedied, and she's doing a fabulous job. As you see, the Ontario Clean Air Alliance, please check them out. Subscribe to Angela's site. So people like this Ian Farley, you know, he knew, and he says, oh yeah, I told people this and that, but you're still taking a paycheck, Ian. You took a paycheck. You took a paycheck, and it's time to make a stand. And I understand people that are really quite upset with you and the Busbys and Caldecotts, and that feeling that how is it that you can actually profit in some way from producing nuclear information? It should all go back somewhere else. You should not pocket this, because this is very important, even spiritually, the way I'm connected in terms of making work that actually feeds us in some way to overcome this narcissism, this selfishness. And to take a paycheck from a syndicate, or even if you're producing information out there, giving lectures and pocketing the money on this, it's wrong. It's just wrong. Now I'm going to have to really look at my own work and myself in terms of if I sell paintings based on this catastrophe, what I'm going to do here. I think I have to have a heart check for myself on how I'm going to proceed when, if paintings actually sell based on this catastrophe at Fukushima. I'm working on that in my own mind. But anyway, I thought this is important to capture.